brands. The guy that owned it, Long John Silver's, if you don't know, in their heyday, they found it and they sold it off. McDonald's was going to buy it in 2006. They gave them $5 million and walked away from it. That's kind of the way they do things when they buy brands. Sun Capital bought them. Private equity and very strict guidelines, private equity. But the first thing we did is they brought in a new CEO, Carl Howard. He's a restaurant guy. He knew he had an uphill battle, and they shut down the franchising department at that time and really just focused on cleaning up the mess. We did close about half the units, actually, over the last 3 or 4 years. Probably closure stopped about a year ago. And then we started because we own over 125 restaurants ourselves, we're able to report that the thing that really got people's attention is we just hit 19 months of same-store sales increases. So when you start to paint a picture, you can't do fluff in this day and age and so forth. We have one of the largest franchisees in our system that owns probably over 300 restaurants of other brands that has 24 Fazoli's, and he's sold on it. We have a lot of brands, franchisees that are now talking about adding another location. So we don't run from the past. We say this is where we were. We had a lot of franchisees in the system that could fog and mirror under past leadership. They sold and they shouldn't have. We had subpar locations. This is what we have now that we actually picked the right location. We pass on locations every day. We are developing company-owned locations as well as franchise locations. So the bulk of our EBITDA actually comes from the 125 locations and so forth. So you got to have a story to paint, so to speak, and we're there now. The closings have stopped. We have 26 franchisees that own the 100-plus locations. So I just joined them to relaunch their growth 6-7 months ago. And it's probably the biggest challenge that I've had in my career because it is a larger investment. You're not building ground-ups anymore. It's a lot of conversions. But we have signed 8 new locations already with the existing pipeline that we had. When I went in and gave my presentation to the Sun Capital and them and said that, and you got to understand, I came from a brand that we sold 147 last year, and I told them our fiscal year, which ends in March, will sell 8, and we've already hit that. That was the lowest number I've done in my career in a year. And the next year I said we'll do 27 and we're expanding and putting the team in place. But we basically, we're creating a hot concept with PR and with good work. So we're constantly keeping our existing sales out there, really building off that, new openings, the type of franchisees in our system, and the picture's still being painted aspects. So it's something that you don't run from, you address right up front.
Okay, can I just add to that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the challenge is you got to do the dirty work on the front end. And that's often even where most people don't call us when things are going fantastic. They call us when there's a struggle. And the struggles typically are with the more mature companies, but we have one as an example where there's probably 200, they're a master program, they've got about 200 franchisees and about, I think it's 25 or 30 masters. And of the 25 or 30 masters, I think only 5 of them are in compliance. So they've brought us in there to help clean it up, and it's going to be really ugly for probably about a year. But the 10 that are doing great are doing phenomenally great. So it's a great story. If we can get rid of all of the, I don't want to say dirty laundry, but get rid of the things that are in the way. That's what you have to do. It's tough, and it takes time and it's money.
I think transparency is the key.
Yeah.
I mean, look, in this age of the internet and anything's just a Google away, you got to preemptively strike on these warts. Every business has a wart, and so you have to get out there in front with the candidate and say, hit it head on early on, so that it doesn't become 11th hour dissenting reason not to go forward.
Good morning. It's Red Boswell with IntegraServe, do franchise consulting and development for Pappy's Pet Lodge, Equilibrium Weight Loss, and Pet Butler. For all the panelists, probably James more than anyone, talking about PR, it's more of a ongoing investment rather than a pay per results when you bring in outside or inside PR. What can you share about budget and what you've paid on a ongoing monthly basis, maybe with Red Mango or other experiences, what should a franchisor expect to budget for their PR efforts? And obviously, it depends on how much they want, how much results they want. But give us some ideas on budgeting, please.
I would say it's one of the hardest things to measure at first, by the way. And BizCom is my favorite, but they're not my PR agency anymore because we have a conflict with clients and so forth where they have now. But they're Dallas-based. And I'll tell you, I brought them, and I have three companies in that area that I just love to death. And one of the things is do you really have something that the press is going to pick up on? So, I mean, I think in 2010, I probably spent $50,000 on PR, okay? About $4,000 a month retainer. To be honest with you, but this was daily. You can get it cheaper. You can do things and be effective for a lot less budget. You can do a lot of things on your own. I have a good friend of mine that started franchising her brand, and I've coached in her, and she's doing a lot of her press releases herself. She's drafting them and so forth. But a good franchise PR agency is going to have all the industry contacts. And one of the things I love to do is every time I bring on a new franchisee, I have the PR agency interview that new franchisee. Because what they do is, A, they're going to write a release on assigning that new franchise, but B, next time Franchise Times is doing a article on a certain type, women in franchising or people that own multiple brands, they already have their bio and they can pitch it real quick. One of the things is we don't want to just beat our own chest with the PR. We really wanted them to go after and get promoting of our store openings, our store signings, but our franchisees. And people read about it and so forth in that aspect. One of the things that we did with them, though, is we tied PR in. We launched Red Mango. We launched in a big way with national PR, but national meetings around the country. Where we launched in New York City. We had over 250 people show up at a red carpet event. We did it at Dallas at the Hotel Zaza. We had about, I think Cheryl, you were there, the room was just packed. And we did with PR. We were able to get on some of the local radio shows, local TV shows, the local newspapers. And one of the things that we did at BizCom with Dan, which is kind of in the forefront of the founder, is if he was going to Chicago to speak at an event, we would pitch PR at the same time. We would pull all our prospects and we'd rent a little room at a hotel. Even if he only had 30 minutes, people would come up there and see him. So we tied it all together with things, and it's really a strategic plan. So whatever your advertising is, your marketing, what meetings the founders or marketing people are going to, and you tie all that together and you can build the plan around it. It's not, I would tell you, it's not one, just PR alone is not going to do it, but we put our brand in the face of the investor from PR to ads and so forth in that aspect. But there's a lot of detail that go into that piece.
You know, and for those that don't have $4,000 to $6,000 a month to spend on a retainer with a PR firm, which is the optimal way to do it, obviously, is to go right to the source that knows how to get a hold of reporters and make things real newsworthy. You go to freepublicity.com. Freepublicity.com is a website that's run by Jeff Crilly, who used to be a Fox TV reporter, news guy, beat reporter here in Dallas, and basically teaches you how to I won't say game the media, but basically how to get into the news for very low ticket or no ticket, so to speak. And we're coming up upon one of the slowest news periods of the year where reporters are starving for stories. The week after Christmas is when it's crickets out there for these guys. And figure out some hook for your brand, why it's relevant, and you'll get in. Go grab coffee with a reporter. They'll meet you out.
Yeah, I would, just on that note, I would say you don't have to have that budget, especially if you're a small regional brand launch and you go to that, you figure out who all the players are in your market, begin to pitch them. I know we had a Wall Street Journal article, and one of the things we did is I had the lady meet me at a Red Mango. She loved the product. She wrote about it. We got a great article. The other thing is use it and put it on your website. I know a brand that I was with that we were posting everything up there daily. I looked at the website the other day, hadn't been anything posted in 7 months. So if you don't continue to do it, you drop the ball, and because what people do is they Google it, they see it, and so forth. But I think you can do a lot of PR, like Dave said, with very little budget. and so forth.